Kyle Loomis on the line with us here at the Voice of College Football to talk up the Auburn Tigers with spring practice just a few weeks away on the Plains. We'll get to the quarterback situation here, Kyle, as we take everyone through the offense. Robbie Ashford had a rough go in spots last season, 49% completion percentage, as many interceptions as touchdowns. What is your thought process about his development and what the competition looks like?
Well, really, the competition to me right now doesn't look that much of a competition at this moment. I'm trying to get everybody used to the idea that Robbie Ashford's the quarterback next year. Now, he has to go out there and earn it. He has to go through practice, reps, all that stuff. We all understand that. We know that. But it is his job to lose right now. You've still got TJ Finley, who's here. Depending on who you talk to, you will hear that the notion is that he's going to finish out his spring, graduate, and then maybe move on to something else. We'll see if that follows through and actually happens. But for now, he's part of the team. He's part of the equation, so we have to factor him in. You've also got Holden Gerner, who's going to be a redshirt freshman. He spent 1 year. He played like 2 snaps, I think, and they were a rough 2 snaps that he had to come in when Robbie Ashford got hurt for some time. So those are really the big 3. You also got Hank Brown in the mix, who was brought over with Hugh Freeze. You know, one of those guys that not a lot of people would expect to start, but he's at least going to factor into the competition. So those are the 4 names right now. Does Auburn bring in a transfer quarterback from somewhere for this year, especially if TJ Finley leaves? I would think so. But right now, I'm trying to get everybody used to the idea that Robbie is the guy. And yes, as you said, rough year. Every quarterback had a rough year for Auburn last year. But who knows what can happen with a different mindset, a different style of teaching, of coaching under Hugh Freeze. I mean, we've seen, the storyline you hear a lot. Look what he did with Malik Willis and what he's now in the NFL. Obviously, in his first year, kind of had some up and downs, but had huge success during his time at Liberty. So a lot of people are correlating Robbie to that type of story. And I'm a big fan of that, especially if it happens.
Also, to complete the picture on Robbie Ashford, a bit of a disclaimer here that if, it's a complete position running and passing, and the element that he provides there, 710 yards and a 4.6 yards per carry. So if you're unfamiliar about the way they keep stats in college, those include sacks. So when a quarterback is averaging almost 5 yards per carry with the sacks thrown in, that's a pretty major bit of damage that he did on the ground, 700 plus yards and 7 touchdowns as a running quarterback. So that has to be taken into account as well.
Yeah, he does. Listen, his legs are obviously his biggest weapon right now. But if you'll remember back to the Iron Bowl, I don't know how many people watch that. And it's just one throw, but there's times we've seen some flashes of brilliance. But I just remember this one throw distinctly into the back of the end zone, and it looked like something that Joe Burrow threw, during his time here at college and is continuing on to the NFL. And I remember just kind of having to watch that on replay. So the guy has ability, whether it's throwing, but especially running. And that's what he really brings to the table in a Hugh Freeze offense. Hugh Freeze, obviously, I won't say somewhat similar to a Gus Malzahn offense. Having mobile quarterbacks is what they're best suited for. So that obviously sets it up very well for Robbie to maintain his leadership role in that number 1 spot at the quarterback position.
All right, Kyle, I am going back and I'm going to check out that throw in the Iron Bowl. I watched the Iron Bowl. I do not remember that particular throw, as Bama won by about 3 scores. It wasn't an annihilation. It was a fairly competitive game.
Yeah.
49-27 comes to mind, something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to block it out of my memory, so thank you for jogging that.
Well, you've got a few to block out, but actually Gus Malzahn, obviously, he held his own in that series more than just about anybody else.